Hello everybody, welcome to Thursday night Scrap Your Scraps. I started creating something just for a relative, and I realized that it might be something that you may be interested in. It's a bit of a media board, and I had all kinds of different bits and pieces left over from a previous collection of things. So there was what do you call those? Chipboard stickers, there was wood stickers, there was stickers, there was ephemera, there was decorative tags, paper. These were not with the kit, but I just pulled out of my washi tape container some washi that coordinated, and I decided that my husband wanted me to create something with this household item, which is one of those sort of I don't want to say old-fashioned, but not really in style now, kind of wall hanging. So what I did was I took from a previous project. I had created a media board with photos on it, and I had some. This was originally an actual album and pieced together album, and so I had lots left because I only used the top two layers. So I chose another layer of that album, and I had a full piece, almost a full piece of paper, so I cut the paper 8 by 8 that I had, and then with the remaining pieces I just fixed them to the top and then trimmed them out on the board. I had a space because I didn't have enough of anything in particular. I had a space that ran across the top. So what I did was I went underneath and between the two in the background with my washi tape, so you can see the washi tape there. So there's my 3 pieces of washi tape that I used across the top, and then that kind of looked kind of weird, so I went into my little tickets ephemera that I had left over, and I just pulled out a number of ephemera that would work with the colors that I had. And so that's the ephemera done. And I left this open because this is actually where this is going to sit. So it's going to cover up that empty space without any problem. So I just stuck the tickets down because they happen to be the same width. I was very lucky. So you may have to play around with that a little bit. And I didn't have enough of the same kind of tickets. So it worked out really well that I had the ability to sort of place this piece in that empty space so it looks like it goes across. And these are things like one of a kind, blah, blah, blah. So the thing is about nanas and grandchildren. So I have 2 pictures of my 2 grandkids and great nana, and I was going to put them onto this board somehow. I am not concerned about the red here because there are some pieces of flowers and things that I can use to create little flower vignettes to minimize that red in there. So this is kind of the way. I can't figure out if I want it to go straight up and down, probably because my mother-in-law is likes things kind of straight, and then I would fill in some flower bits and pieces around there and tuck some things in there. So I want to pop up these photographs so they're not right on the actual backboard. So I am going to use some scraps I had left over from another project of the same paper just to become my pops places. Now I am going to take a minute to just pull out. So as I said, I have ephemera, I have chipboard, I have wooden elements, and I have another one here. Sometimes you can get all this stuff in a collection. These were the ephemera tickets, which I've already used, and I don't think I'll be using more of those. I have a tag. I have some leftover flower bits from my last project, and more of the wooden leftovers, and some leaves left over from fussy cutting in my last project. And I have sticker sheets as well. And I have decorative tags, which I haven't used many of. I have a little bit of paper left over. Not sure how I can use that. And then I had some of these die cuts, which also have paper in the back of them, which I might be able to use for backing to give a bit of a frame to the pictures. I'm not sure. And again, literally like little bits and pieces. So what I was hoping to do is get some kind of a little bit of a frame on the photo, so when I pop it, it actually lifts it up. This isn't ideal because the actual paper is the same as the back of this. This isn't ideal because you've got a lot of stuff and not enough paper for these two things. Looking on the back of this, yeah, not easily getting. I might be able to trim the paper a little tighter. I might consider that. This is different on the back, and that's different as well. Or, you know what? I think I'm going to look through my stash and find a color that coordinates with this. And I have plenty of leftovers. So I will be right back with a leftover. Alrighty, so I am back with a couple of options. I had this paper that looks like knitting. So it's a bubbly knit and I guess a square knit. I don't know what they are, but I like them because they're a little bit off-white, so they're not too stark. I just have to decide which one I think is going to go best as a frame. And, you know, I have some option. This is quite patterny. This is more linear. I don't know. This is more yellowy. And this is more white-ish. Gosh, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think I'm going to use this one because I likely won't use that for anything else in terms of having it as part of a layout. This one I could see as part of a layout as a border or something, so I'll leave that aside. And now we're going to use this one. So I think I'm going to keep it. Looks like it's 1/4 of an inch around the outside edge, so I think I'm going to leave it that way. And I'm going to stick my photograph right down on it right now as soon as I find my, I've been away scrapping, so I had to find my there we go, my tape runner. So I am just putting tape runner on it, and I'm kind of eyeballing what would be center around these 3 sides, and then I can trim it off on the other side, which I'll just do with my chopper here. Oh, I found some more paper. Alrighty. So I'm going to give it about that same amount. There we go. And now it's framed nicely. Do the same for the other side. And this time I'm going to try to make sure that I measure it up against the other photo. And how I do that is I put one photo in, line it up at the side, then I put the one I want to cut, and I butt up to that. Make sure that that's right on the edge, and I butt up to this. And then I cut, and they end up both the same size. And I have a little bit of paper left over. Oh look, that paper was on both sides. Interesting. Didn't even look at the other side. Alrighty, so now I have my two photos. So they're probably going to be quite close to the edge, giving them a little bit of a frame, sort of an equal frame around and in the middle. And then this is going to end up on this side. And like that. And then we've got flower bits and pieces and things happening. So I want to get these down three-dimensionally, and then we'll stick this down. I'm going to stick this down with glue dots because I think that it won't stay with just regular adhesive. This I am also going to just pop up, so I don't really need the whole amount on one piece because there won't be any weight on the photographs. I'm just going to sort of play with it like that, just so that it gets it off the bottom of the piece, and the photo will have no problem sticking to this cardboard or chipboard or whatever you want to call it. But then when I actually adhere it down to the paper, I'm going to make sure that I used pop dots to make sure that it's secure. So I'm just going to put this here. Just to give it some oomph. And pop dots, which I have many, but where did they go? There we are. Those are mini, mini, mini. I want medium. There we are. So I'm really just sticking down the actual thing that I've popped up. I'm not sticking it on the photo at all. And they're light, so they shouldn't need a huge amount of pop dots. Just enough to get it stuck. And these pictures were at Great Grandma's 95th birthday party, so it's pretty special. Let me get this ready to go too. And maybe one right in the middle. Okay. There we go. Hard part is getting the plasticky bits off and then getting those plasticky bits off your fingers. Okay, there we go. Now, still stuck. I'm going to stand up for this because I can't get a good look at what I'm doing without doing that. I'm keeping my fingers underneath to keep the bottom of the sticky stuff off the paper until I'm ready to push it down. So I think we're good here. There we go. And then this one, oops, and lay on top. There we go. And there we've got our pictures. So now we're going to glue dot the back of this so that we can get that on. You know what? I think I maybe am going to glue this as opposed to glue dot, because glue dots might dry out. So I'm going to use my white stuff because I'm not going to go right to the edge. There we go. Pull off the little dried stuff. And I'm going to put a fair bit of glue, not right to the edge, because we do want to put some decor underneath, and we'll have to have some space to squeeze it under. And that should be good enough. Whoop. Lost my pen. That is not a good thing. Okay, well, I'll look for that later. Alrighty, so now, again, standing up. I want to put this down. Actually, I'm going to use the there we go. Push that nicely down. Alrighty. And now I'm going to look at some of the things I have to play with. There we go. So I think I want a little bit of something coming out from underneath. So I'm going to look at my tags. Don't know if I'll use them, but they can come out from the side, sticking out from the side to give it a little bit more dimension. So we could have something like that sticking out the side but underneath the photograph. So we have a number of things here. Don't need my hobby, don't need passion. Cute little potted plant could stick out from under here. Flowers, don't need the paintbrush. This is a themed pack and it's art and garden. And I don't mind having a little bit of that and a little bit of that. So let's see how we work that out. I can even cut them down because there's enough of it that I could maybe cut this a little shorter because I don't need the whole amount to go in. And these little guys might look interesting down here, maybe, and I'd have to trim those up. So I'm just now kind of playing around, seeing what I want to see. I don't want to cut these quite yet, but I'm thinking of something like that. So we have multiple little edges coming out with the photo. Maybe not that far, of course, maybe a little closer. And then I have these flowers, and I'm going to trim these out a little bit more, but this is where the flowers come in to get rid of that expanse of, let me find another decent sized flower. That actually almost fits right in there, but I don't want to do that too much. So it's okay to have a little bit of red there, but not a huge amount of red. And then if I could stick a few more flowers in there, coming maybe out from underneath there. So you can see how I'm sort of building up the layers. And we have a bit of flower here that we could pop in somewhere. maybe down along there. And I'm going to put some glue dot, or not glue dots, but pop dots in some places. This could kind of go along there to bring that out a little bit. Bring this down. And this is another tag we could use. Beautiful day is a nice thing to say. So just a little bit of flowers following down, and of course you will still see the faces. These will be underneath here. I like adding these little bits of wood because it breaks up the monotony of the flowers, and some of these I've already sort of trimmed down. Because I was using them for something else. Now I can cut off the stems so that can play out of there. So this is the direction I'm going with this. I also have, let's put a little bit of greenery. More greenery there, and I have these tags I can use. I have tons of ephemera. Let's see what else is in there. So I have a leaf, but it's not really got a joining thing. I have a flowered letter. Not much in this pack. Maybe that envelope with the flower on it. Not sure. I'm going to put that over here. Here I'm just going to trim off the little bit from where I cut before. These are interesting little word ephemera, or wood stems. They're kind of compressed wood, and you know, so some of that could come out of there. I could have a little bit of flower coming out of there as well. Just the beginnings of something happening there. This I don't think I'm going to need. Now I have this big envelope here which has beautiful flowers on it, so I could cut this envelope, just the flowers out of that envelope, because I don't think I'm going to use anything else in this at this point. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to just trim this out because I don't need the envelope part. I'm going to fussy cut this a little later. So fussy cutting is what makes everything look more real. Right now I'm just trimming off the excess and thinking about where I can put this. Okay, so this is garbage. Now it looks extra big because there's lots of stuff going on in the background. What I think I might do is take this overly large one and make that one that kind of fits somewhere in there. Or maybe up here. There we go, somewhere up there. And then this one, which is a little smaller, can fit in this area. Cover up some of the red. These will be cut to fit. Or maybe I have 3 of them down there, don't know yet. And the 4U works for me. The circle flower can work for me. This I think we'll have to go after. Not right now. Let's see what we've got here. I think I saw something here. Oh yeah, I've got a plant here. So we can use the leaves off the plant. You always want to have a lot of leaves in your collages of flowers. I also saw this very large spray of flowers, which might be a little overly big. I might be able to use a corner of it off the side here, so we'll see how that goes. Those are glasses. And here I have some sticker flowers. So we could do something like this across the bottom. And there's other random things we could use to just stick in and pop out of the side of things, so maybe hang on to that. So these I'm just going to stick on my corner of my mat so they don't stick on the actual paper. Okay, I'm going to leave these for now, and I'm going to tighten up the cutting on some of these other flowers. That one's okay. Maybe just put a little something in front of it, but these things I need to tighten up. So I shall be back when I've fussy cut a little closer. Okay, so I've trimmed down all my flowers. Now I'm going to take a little bit out of this so it fits a little bit better on what's going on with the heart there, just so that it, sort of melds in a little bit better. And I'm going to keep that there. I like that one there. And I'm just going to pop up the leafy parts by running my finger across the top. And I'm going to pop up my flower a little bit by running underneath. And these little guys I can just bend and pop individually. And can do the same for that. And I'm going to put a little bit of pop dots in there. There we go. Oops. So I'm going to pop dot where these guys are, just on one of them to give a bit of a lift. I'm going to pop dot into the center, and I think I'm going to do 2 pop dots there. And I've folded this little bit over and I've turned up my leaves, so when it sticks down the leaves should pop up a little better. So, and then I'm going to stick that under the edge of this canvas. There we go. And it gives it some dimension. Okay, whoops. So that's a good start at the top there. I stuck this one under at the bottom, but I'm first going to take it out again and roll up those leaves so they look like leaves. And I'm going to pop dot the center of this and that so that we can get some lift. Because we want to have a couple of different levels. Whoop. Trying to get those in my garbage can. So I'm just going to kind of, whoop, a little too high, stick that down there, and there we have some dimension down there starting. Alrighty, now I think I want to put, I think I'm going to trim this off, or just rip it off even. This little guy that is going to go in there, I'm just going to put a pop dot on him. Obviously you're going to have something different than I have, but I'm going to round him around and put a pop dot underneath. And I think I'm going to put some greenery here too, just to give it something to live on, like that. That looks good. And we're going to curl up those leaves again, just at the tips. Don't worry about the lower ones. And this I'm just going to put a little dab of glue on where the stem is. If I can get my glue working. Sorry. It's because I haven't found my pin yet. Alrighty. Okay, I have located my pin. Just going to pop that in there, break the seal. And I was trying to get a little bit on the back of the leaf. And I'm just going to tuck that under here. That should be enough to keep it to stay. Just going to round the inside of this just a little bit so it's not so square. And there we go. So that's in there. So let me just show you where we're at so far. We've got this flower in there, that flower in there. I'm going to stick something in to cover that, and this flower down here. Alrighty. Now I'm going to just round the flowers on this as much as possible and turn up the little bits of, this was the envelope. You can't see any part of the envelope anymore. So it's, once you've done that cutting around and fussy cutting, you don't see, oops, a little dog hair there. Alright, so we're going to pop this up. And we're going to stick that in here, but I think I want it to be out a little bit. So I think I'm going to stick it there. And then we have a larger flower that we can add that's going to kind of cover up a bit more of that red. Or maybe I'll put this flower down here. Anyway, so I'm rounding it again. I'm going to put 2 pop dots in there. I used up those. I'm going to pull out my others. Those are thins. It's great having all these options for pop dots, all the different thicknesses. So just do that. Now these leaves, I'm going to turn them up the other way. And I think we're going to have this one about there, because I want to sort of take away whatever's going on in the background there. And I'm going to add a little bit more. Don't need the stem on this one or this leaf. I'm going to plop that in there. Again, I'm going to round it a little bit where the flowers are and round in the opposite direction where the leaves are to try and get a little bit of depth. Put pop dots where the flowers are. And we are going to have this I think coming out around there. There we go. All right, now I want to put in a tiny bit of greenery in here to give a little bit of depth and hide that open space that's there. And I think I might glue that whole thing down. Yeah. So this isn't going to need a pop dot. We're going to put a little bit of glue on there. Leave my pin in. Now put the pin in so that it'll be ready to go the next time. I'm going to stick this underneath and just pop that in there. There we go. Alrighty. And this, I think I'm going to put a little bit of the wooden stuff just underneath that. Again, with just a little tiny bit of glue. And get my pin back in there. There we go. Hide that a little. There we go. Here we are. Okay, now I really like to have some greenery going across there, but I think I'm going to use the smaller greenery. Again, turn up the leaves. And poke that in there. I'm going to pop dot it at the front end and then glue it at the back end. So it'll go nicely underneath. Ooh, getting that pin in again is always a problem. There we go. So it'll lay flat under, but it's got a bit of height on this end, flatter on that end. Okay, so now we're thinking about what's going on down here. Now these guys, I'm going to powder the back of them, and the reason I powder the back is because I do not want the sticky on the tag to get in the way of what I'm doing. And I used to have a powdering tool. I have no idea where that went. Okay, so I will powder it afterwards. I can powder it because it's off the page. Now, if I want these two guys just a little bit in, then these guys could go somewhere around there. So I want to kind of keep them equidistant. I don't want too much of it to show, but I want it to kind of be even. Okay. This can come down just a little longer. And let's see, over a little bit. There we go, trying to keep the same distance between the two things. So I'm going to take those out, they're distracting me. There we go. And then these guys can fit up under there. I'm going to make him a little longer so you can see the plant. It just needs a little glue. About the same distance between the two. And then this one I'm going to do a little bit shorter, but between, so they all kind of have a different length. About the same distance apart as possible. There we go. Alrighty. So we're starting to get somewhere, and now I just take a minute and I look at what's happening, and I need something there. Now, it doesn't have to be a flower. It can be something else. So let's see what we have sticker-wise. It could be one of these guys, which is kind of neat. So I think I'll put that in there. But I'm going to double pop dot it. So I'm going to get my bigger pop dots. I have these strips, and they're really good for double pop dotting. So I'm going to take a piece. Doesn't matter if it's black because you're not really going to look at it from the side anyway. And I'm putting one piece down, and then I'm ripping a piece about the same size, putting that on top. So now this is going to stand up quite a bit and show up a little bit more. Now I do want a little bit of leafy something going on here to cover up that, but I don't think I want it to be the wood. Where is the rest of my wood stuff? Oh, there they are. I still have a bunch of these, so let's pull these out. Sometimes the pages are good for using as mats, so I think I'll hang on to that because it's colored. Alrighty. Maybe I wouldn't mind just a small little bit coming out. Or I can trim this and just have a little bit of that coming out. So I just trim this down. Take this bit of green leaf off. And then curl those up. Put a little bit of glue on the stem. Oops. That's going to go under there. There we go. And it's coming along, actually. I'm quite liking it. So now I do want to have a little bit of this wood coming out of the side. And I just want to trim off this little bit. Because we have this kind of beigey color, it is possible to add some of this, and it sits fairly flat, so I'm going to have to put some sort of a flowery thing over top. I can bend it a little, but not too much, otherwise it will bust. Okay, so that's going to go there. Let's see what we have. Can I put a little bit of greenery in there with it? Sure, why not? I still have a kind of flower that I could put there. Okay, I'm going to take this flower off of here and quickly trim it out. Try to keep as much of the greenery as possible. You can see I'm not super close to anything. I might put a little divot in there just to make it more natural. But I'm literally just leaving space around it. And let's see. I'm going to take where that hole is and kind of cut it off. And now, if I put it in there, if I put it in like that, you know what? I think I'm going to put that one down here, trim it just a little so it goes flatter, and we'll round that one. So we're going to round it and turn up the leaves a little bit. Put some pop dots. Where are they? Saw them over here under the body. And I'm just going to bend that a little bit. And under this part, take that off and that off. And scooch it underneath. So we have some leaves. And then I can add a tiny bit more greenery there, which I think I will, just with my glue. My pen back in there. Before I do that, I should just turn up those ends a little. Just stick that under there. Okay. I'm going to put that little one down there. So literally I'm making the decisions in the moment. I mean, I did a basic sort of like layout of how many flowers I may need, as you saw earlier. But there we go. But I really didn't spend a lot of time thinking it out. I kind of just went and did it. Now, let's see what we have left. We have an envelope and we have this flower. So I think I'm going to just trim off the little guy right here and add him in there. So to add him in there, I'm going to have to take a little off the bottom just so it goes in a bit better. Round it. Put a little pop dot at the top edge. And I think I need to go around there like that. There we go. So it's popped up. And then we have these guys. And actually going to rip that off. Put a little glue. Oops. Stick that under there. That's better. Okay. And this is starting to look really good, I think. I'm going to trim off this little stem. Kind of round that like it was never there. Round out our flower again. Turn up the leaf. And where do I need a little something something? Do I need a little something something in there? A little more in there. It's never easy to know when to stop. That is one of my big problems. So I want to make sure I don't overdo. I think I'll take that and put that there. And I think I will take this and put that there. But I'll have to trim it down a little. Probably about there. So that'll go in there. That will go over that a little bit. Okay. Because I just want to cover up a bit of what's going on with the bottles. And I'm just going to get rid of some of this white because it's a little too much in that small an area. And all I did is I trimmed through the stem, and then if it shows I can glue it together. If it doesn't show, which it's not really doing, I can there we go. Okay, pop dot. There we go. And then this guy's going to get a little bit of glue on the bottom. That can go up there, underneath, poking out. Okay. Can I insert a little leaf under there just to make it... So I'm looking at this corner, and I think I might just have to insert a bit of a leaf somehow to bring that into what's going on, because it feels like it's sort of sticking out. So you just kind of peruse what you've done and make adjustments as you see things. Actually, I'm going to trim that little bit off because it's causing me a problem. I think I'm just going to stick this right there so it looks like it's part of the group. It just kind of brings it together. A little bit of glue. There we go. There we go. Just so it kind of just brings that little corner together because it was kind of bare. And let's see what else is going on. These guys are going to be turned up. I have some of this left over. Sometimes I can adjust it. We have that coming out from there. Just a little bit. There we go. Let's see, how does it look? All right, now I wanted to do something that brought it out a little bit out on this side. So I think I'm just going to trim a bit off, but I'm going to do it with my trimmer because I might be able to use this as a tag on something else. So I'm just going to trim about that much. There we go. So that can be there. And then I think I'll trim a little bit of this one. Now I have two things I can use as a tag on something else. Alrighty, so this we're just going to stick right under there. And I think we're going to lift it up a little bit. There we go. And then this is going to go over top. Like that, maybe, showing a bit of the pink. There we go. Now, with tags that are hanging off, and when I powder those, I can do it better for that, just kind of curve them up. Not too drastically. You just want them to sort of show a little bit like they are three-dimensional. Okay, because everything else is three-dimensional, so you want to make sure that the tags don't sort of stay there flat. All right, now it was a beautiful day. It was a 95th birthday, so is there anything here that I feel like beautiful day for you? Maybe. What do I have here? Nothing I really like. Don't really need any more of those, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to trim this so that it's square. And I'll just do that off camera because it's a little easier. Which side is a square side? There we go. Actually, I need to do it on the top because it's a little hard to do it under there. And we're just going to make that square. And we're going to make that square. There we go. And we're just going to make this square. There we go. So now I have this beautiful day. I'm going to just curl up the corners a little bit. So it's a little bit cornery and not completely flat. Now I have some choices. I can add this to a card, maybe put a little ribbon in there and have it like a tag, and maybe have it pop off there. Beautiful day for you. Bring it back into the light so we can see what I'm talking about. So I can have it something like this, so it looks like it's a tag with a little string. I can have it in the envelope like it's an invitation or something, or I can just have it centered on a piece of card. Beautiful day for you. So hard to know. These final details are so objective, you know. It's like beautiful day for you. No, I don't really like that. I think I'm going to stick with this guy, but I'm going to trim down the weight a little bit. So there's just a little bit of white. Now, I am going to I have some really mini ribbon, which is kind of fun. Look how small that is. So I'm going to make a bow with that through this. We'll see how that works. And when you want to make a bow, going down brings the cross ribbon across the front. You see, like that. And going up brings the ribbon like that. So it's personal preference as to what you would prefer to do. I might not have enough here to make a bow. I might have cut too short. I wonder if I can just crisscross them and just have them like that. Okay, that's what we're going to do now because I cut that a little too short. So now I want to make this like a tag. Don't want it to be too long, so I've got to shorten it up a bit. Make sure I've got it balanced. There we go. So that can go there. Beautiful day for you. And then I'm going to write in there, happy 95th. All right, so I want flat glue here and pop dots on the corners to lift it. So I'm going to take 2 pop dots, 1 on either side. I'm going to put glue all the way across the bottom. Like that. Not have it too tilted. And then this, unfortunately, has lost its glue. So I'm just going to put some glue on it. There we go. There we go. And then I can write maybe happy 95th there. So anyway, I think we're just about done. There's a few things I may do. I may go in and put a small light gray line around that to have it stand out a little more. Let me turn down the intensity of the light here so you can see a little better. But look how dimensional that is. It catches all the shadows and all the doodads. Now, the other thing I think I want to do is add, sorry, I thought I was done, but I'm not. I want to add a couple of pearls. And maybe a couple of gemstones as well. Let's see. Oh, I like these iridescent gemstones. Yeah, the rest are a little too bright. Okay. So, one thing I wanted to do is change the color of this because it's not quite pink enough. So, in order to do that, I am going to do a little test on a piece of paper somewhere. If I have a piece of paper somewhere. There we go. So I can see what color these are. So number one is kind of not very enthusiastic. That's Dusty Rose, or yeah, that's just going to make it all kinds of more brownish. So then the next one, now that on top of the Dusty Rose may work. And that one is Peony. And then there's this one, which is a little more purpley. It's bubblegum, and if I do that on that, oh, it's so hard to tell. So I'm just going to go and add some color to the paint. And you can see how quickly it changes. Note there. Let me bring it up to you, and I'll turn my light down so you can see a little better. Do you see the difference between the pink that's at the top and the pink that's at the bottom? So it does make a difference, and it pulls together this color. So I think I'm just going to go and do all of that to all the flowers as carefully as I can, because I don't really want it to end up on the wood. So give me just a quick moment to get that adjusted. And I think that makes all the difference, because now the flowers blend in with what's going on. There we go. And I often will change the color of things if I don't like the way they're blending in. So don't be afraid to, oh, I colored the yellow. Don't be afraid to go in with your markers and add color to things to make them work out better for what you want to do. Alrighty, put those away. Now, what was I saying? Oh yes, gems. So this can go over here. So in the middle of the flowers that are obvious, I am going to put little tiny gems. I'll get my little tweezers. Oh, that didn't come out with the paper. There we go. So I'm going to pick up a gem and put it in the center. Now when they slide off, it becomes a little trickier to grab them. There we go. Actually, I think put one here. Come back, you silly. There we go. And put one there. I was going to put pearls, but I think I like the glitteriness of the flower, of the gemstones. So we're going to keep with the gemstones and just add them to the center of each of the flower. Make sure I've got them all. And so you just have the little bit of sparkle every once in a while. It's not overloaded. And then I think that's it, other than me writing happy 95th birthday and the date. We are done. I love it. Very happy with it. So there you go. This is our finished project. Pulling together a bunch of stuff from another project that we completed. I might trim that just a little bit shorter. So there you are. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next week.